Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle and triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Thank you for joining us today for this episode of Her Version. The Her Version platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I am speaking with an amazing woman named Dawnita. Dawnita is an amazing author and here today to share a story of teen pregnancy, enduring abuse, and how she came to create a relationship with God. She will be sharing some of her struggles with CPTSD in order to give hope to those that have a similar story. I am excited to share what she is doing now in her world to not only empower her daughters, but to help overwhelmed individuals create attainable goals and create independent souls. Welcome, lady. When during this process and the personal growth you've done, and the uh the process that has gotten you to this point, mental health, emotional health, and really feeling like you're in a good place. We're still learning, right? We're still educating ourselves. I kind of want to touch on limiting beliefs, because I think limiting beliefs is something that we all deal with. And sometimes we feel as if we have overcome our limiting beliefs, and then they kind of start to creep up again. You're like, wait a minute, I thought I already took care of you. So now that you're doing the personal development and you're understanding that, and you've done the therapy or the counseling, and you're taking the steps to better yourself, has any interesting or challenging limiting beliefs come up for you in your journey through this?
Constantly. I mean, it's constant. Uh,
Can you share one with us and let us know, like, how you're viewing it now?
oh my goodness. I One of the things that I've really struggled with here lately, and I think probably already everybody has, um, the last few years haven't hit Northwest Oklahoma the same way that they hit everybody else. Um, you can't lock down people who have to go out and feed the cows. I, you
Yeah.
you just can't. So, and God had placed me in my first full-time job before this hit, and I was as a journalist, a newspaper journalist. Not a very popular place to be for a little while, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's still not. I had a lot of fun with it, and I grew a lot. I am an extreme introvert. So having to get out and do the interviews and go to all the meetings and stuff, but there was no time off. There
Wow.
was absolutely no time off during that 3 years of time. And I really, when it was time to let go of the job no longer fit.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, I was gaslighting myself. Everybody needs me. Everybody, sometimes those things sound good.
Yeah.
Sometimes they sound good.
Yeah.
But I realize when my mother left, I mean, because it always goes way back, when my mother left, it was just me and my dad for a while. And my grandmother had said that I would lead him when we would go to the airport or something, that I was always very independent and I would just kind of lead the way. And I've always had this, okay, I've got this hard situation that I've got to go through. I'm just going to stand up tall and go through it. And sorry. And you don't have to go through everything.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't. Sometimes they're better off without you.
Mm.
So, sometimes other people need to grow too. So sometimes the growth is letting go. So I hate letting go of things. I want to hold on to all of it. I want to do it all. I want to do everything. And you can't do everything. So, I mean, it doesn't sound like a limiting belief, but it really, really is. And especially whenever you can't physically do a whole lot. I have to do a lot of resting or I'll end up sick. And so it's sometimes it's not what you think it is.
Yeah. Good point. I appreciate that take
Rest.
on it for sure.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
don't think. We think it's not okay to rest. It's not okay to slow down. It's not okay to, well, I used to call myself lazy all the time. Well, I got called lazy, and they didn't realize I had a hypoglycemia, severe hypoglycemia, so I wasn't getting the right nutrition. So I just didn't feel good most of my life.
Wow.
And so they would say, "Oh, you're just so lazy. You're so selfish," things like that. So I would turn around and tell myself that I'm lazy, I'm selfish, I need to do all these things. And no, I don't. It's okay.
Wow. Wow. Thank goodness that you've done the work you've done. Like, just imagine where you'd be at mentally. That's a lot.
I wouldn't be here.
Wow.
I really wouldn't be here. You have ups and downs, and I love my life. I've got this beautiful life. Um, and I remember going to the doctor one time, when number 5 was about a year old, and going to the doctor and saying, "There's something wrong with me. Check my thyroid, check this, check that." And he said, "Dawnita," and he's a friend too. So he has no problem with us arguing with each other at the doctor's office. And he's like, "Dawnita, I think you're depressed." And I said, "No, I can't be depressed. I've got this wonderful husband, 5 beautiful children at that time.
Mhm.
I can't be depressed." He said, "Dawnita, I don't think depression is what you think it is." And he explains to me clinical depression. I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll try the stuff, and he gave me the stuff. And within a month, I was a completely different person.
Wow.
So I changed from the pharmaceutical medication to a natural, which I just like doing things as natural as possible. And I've been on it ever since, been doing that. And it's huge. So being able to admit you need help, and being able to look into things and see, it seems like with the whole mental health movement, I've got 2 feelings about that. One is, wow, people can talk about it now, because
Yeah.
30 years ago, boy, howdy, you didn't talk about it because it meant you were crazy nuts and
Yeah.
needed to be committed.
Yeah.
Now you can talk about it. So that's awesome. You can talk about, how you're struggling. That's good. On the same accord, don't live in that. Don't say it's my depression. That's a
Wow.
pet peeve of mine. It's not your depression. It may be something you're struggling through right now. It may be a circumstance that you have. It may be something that need some help dealing with, maybe for the rest of your life, but it's not yours.
Wow.
So,
That
yeah,
is
the
powerful.
anxiety, we all deal with anxiety at some point and another. And sometimes it's crippling and that's terrible, but it's not your anxiety. So don't own those things. Take care of your mental health. That's awesome. But don't own those things. They're not you. That's not who you are. You aren't an anxious, depressed person or whatever struggles you're going through. You are not the struggle. I am not the abuse. I am not the neglect that I received. I am not those things. I am this crazy person who paints every room in our house a different color and does some things that people would really laugh at. But live in the moment, be the person
Wow.
that you are, and quit owning those things.
Yeah. Wow. That was really powerful. I've never thought of it that way. I've never thought of it that way. Very
I,
cool.
I'm trying to find another word for like survivor too, because we do survive these situations and stuff, but I don't want to just be a survivor for the rest of my life. I want to thrive.
Mhm.
I want to pull out of that survivalism. I teach prepping and sustainable living and self-sufficiency and things like that, but I don't want to go into like survival mode for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I want to thrive.
Yeah. I had somebody, not on the podcast, but in life. I don't know if this is right, but she called it serve Ivor, like to serve. So she's not a survivor. She now is a serve Ivor. So
I
she
like that.
serves. So I don't know if that's exactly what it was, but maybe play with it a little bit. But it was something to
Yeah.
the effect of she now gives back because of her past.
Yeah.
She serves now. I thought that that was so cool. Let's see if I can find exactly what that was, but I'm pretty sure it was something like that. So something for you to play with right there.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go.
So I want to take a second to acknowledge all the individuals that are hanging out with us live right now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. We're almost an hour in, so we so appreciate you being here and taking some time out of your day to hang out with myself and Dawnita and listen to her journey and the information that she's sharing with us right now. I want to ask, what do you do? Tell us what you do for all of the humans, about your website and your business.
Well, out here on the prairie, uh, there's just a lot. And
Yeah.
I really didn't think anything that I was doing out here was going to be of interest to anybody. So I help today's pioneer families overcome the dust storms of life in sustainable self sufficiency. That's homeschooling, homemaking, homesteading. And yeah, I didn't realize how uh, important this information is for people today until I did a live video on Facebook, uh, hanging my clothes on the line and explaining how I hang my laundry on the clothesline and why I hang it the way I hang it. I had people that said that I watched that 20 times and now I want to move to the prairie. So there are so many things today that we think are necessities that really are just conveniences. We've got so many people moving into like tiny houses and
Yeah.
doing different things, to try to live more sustainably. And that's something that I'm a fifth generation Oklahoma Panhandle homesteader. That's something we've been doing for a long time out here, just because we're 3 hours away from the nearest city. So we kind of have to do that. And so I turn around and help teach that to other people. And it's been a really fun journey. It's
Wow.
been great.
Very cool. And anyone who's listening that wants to contact you, is there a way to contact you on the website above your head?
Yeah.
Just
Visit prairiedashtrail.com. Sign up for the newsletter if this is stuff that you're interested in. You want to learn to live more sustainably. We have dust storms, tornadoes, wildfires, the whole kit and caboodle out here. So I try to focus also on being prepared for those things, both mentally and physically, so that you can be ready for whatever natural disaster or, things that come on in your life. And there's a lot of encouragement. It's all Bible based, but not dogmatic. I'm anti dogmatic. So I like to encourage people in what the Bible actually says. And a lot of people don't know what that is.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Definitely. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you. So, for those of you that are listening live that appreciate what you've heard here, make sure you check out her website at the end of this. What does success mean to you?
success to me is being out here on our little farm. It's 80 acres, which is small for Northwest Oklahoma. as a 100-year-old farmhouse that needs a lot of TLC. But I love it. You know, we're out of debt, and we never know for sure which vehicle's going to start whenever it's time to go somewhere. But it's a very, very simple, slow, easygoing life. And I just love that. And then being able to share that with others and see other people encouraged. That's success to me.
I think it's so crazy that 80 acres is small.
It's very small.
Oh my
Yes, very
God.
small out here. Yeah.
That's a lot of land.
Well, you think of it, but we don't have a lot that grows out here. So it's very flat, and there are a whole lot of trees, and we've been going through a terrible drought. So if you're a praying person, please pray for rain for us out here. We need it. So yeah, it takes a lot of land out here in order to properly feed the livestock. So yeah, it seems like a lot, but not out here.
Wow. Well, I just learned something new. Very cool. I want to close up with some advice. Women who are struggling in finding their authentic self, struggling with their identity, maybe even because of pressure from outside influences. They can't quite align with who they're trying to be. What would be some advice that you'd close up with here for our ladies out there that are searching for themselves?
I've really struggled with this too, and I've come to realize just fairly recently that who I am and what I am is continually changing. So you're evolving into the person that you can be, and you've got a lot more potential than what you think you have. Um, I don't know a woman who really, really thinks enough of herself. You know, even the most confident looking women have got some major insecurities.
Yeah,
And so don't beat yourself up about that.
yeah,
You are in the process. So grow. Just be willing to grow.
yeah, definitely. Willing to grow. There we go. That's awesome. I so thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Yes, your story is so inspiring. I hope to have you on again at some point in the future. I think that would be fantastic. Any closing thoughts before I close up? This has been great.
I always end my podcast with you can make it through the dust storms of life with God's divine help.
I love it. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for those of you that are hanging out with us live. This has been absolutely fantastic. If you're watching us on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay so that we know that you were here and we can just show you some love. But this has been her version. This community is expanding every single day. It's filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow, like, and share. If you have an amazing story to share of struggle to triumph, be sure to reach out to me here or at herversion.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows individuals to share their truth and inspire others. Until next time, do something.